What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much again for tuning in here for part 2 of our conversation with head football equipment manager Terry Country Calloway. So if you haven't seen part 1 yet, make sure to go and click right up here and go check out part 1. Definitely a fun interview and a fun discussion. Also, too, even a really cool story that maybe a lot of state fans haven't heard as well. So make sure to go check that out. So once again, please make sure, again, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps support us in the channel. Please like this video and check out all of our other NC State content. Follow us at Tuffy Talk now on Twitter or Instagram. With that being said, Country, jumping right back in. So NC State, since the mid-2000s, has had a pretty long relationship with Adidas. But you worked at Wisconsin for a while, who, if I'm not mistaken, was Under Armour for a lot of it, or is now. I don't know necessarily then, but so what would your reaction be if one day here in the next couple of years, all of a sudden, I know that we have a contract with the Adidas, so let's assume after the Adidas contract ends, if you were told, hey, we're going to Under Armour now, what would your be initial reaction?
I would pull out what little bit of hair I have left, which is not much at all. Not because not because it's Under Armour. It's just a few years ago before we signed with Adidas, there was another brand that came in and made an effort at us. And I was over at Coach Dorn's house, and he was asking me my opinion on it. And I said, "Well, Coach, let me sum it up like this: you take everything that you have in your closet that's Adidas, and you have to remove it, and you can't use it anymore." And his wife, Miss Dorn, Sarah, says, "You wouldn't have anything left." I said, "Now imagine if I had to do that for an entire football team." He goes, "Oh my goodness." He goes, "I didn't think of it like that." So it would be, it would be, quite honestly, it would be a nightmare, but we would roll up our sleeves and do what we do, and we would deal with it. And, we would make the best of it. But I have actually been with Adidas since 2001 because we switched to Adidas when I was
20 years
at Wisconsin. And then, red, black, and white. Gotcha. Then I go to NIU. They were Adidas, red, black, and white. I come to NC State, and we're red and white with a little bit of black. So I don't want nobody to get upset, I wouldn't. Yeah. I would have to learn a whole new terminology, ordering system, the whole works. But, we would do it. Adidas has been great to us. I'm happy to be with Adidas. Like I said, I wouldn't know what to do if I didn't have Adidas, and I really wouldn't have any clothes. Let me tell you,
Yeah, no kidding. And because you actually kind of mentioned it too, but back in 2014, you were a big part and actually did a video talking about the story behind the original all black helmet. And so wanted to kind of first start off, because obviously that was made a huge splash in Wolfpack Nation, just because, again, it's for state, there has never been black. It's always been some kind of combination of red and white for as long as we can remember. And so was there any kind of pushback, or, how did that conversation originally go? Just because, it even still to some state fans, they may not agree with seeing black, but I know that for us, who kind of see it as, well, it's the growing trade of recruiting. Recruits love to see the different colors and love to see all blacks, all whites, chrome and all that jazz. So you got to adjust to that. So wanted to kind of ask, what was the kind of pushback, and then do you see even more changing with uniforms as the years go on?
It's a good balancing act. I'm glad I don't have the final decision in the uniforms. I just help kind of make them. Obviously we want to be very conscious of our fans and our alumni, but you also you got to think, not only does the recruits that we're trying to get, we want to get the best of the best, right? And they get fired up when they see black in the uniform, but also our current players, they get jacked when they see black. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it's because, you see red and white, which are great colors, and love red and white, but when you see red and white all the time, and then you see something different, you get excited. You know what I mean? That's just like if you're driving a red car all the time, right? Red car, red car, red car. Then all of a sudden, you see this new supermodel and it looks black, it's going to catch your eye, right? That's the same thing. That's what we're trying to go after. Yep. You got to remember, we're trying to recruit 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, You know what I mean? What's going to catch their eye? What's going
Mm-hmm.
to bring them? What's going to make them interested in NC State? You know, sometimes the battle is just
Right.
getting them to campus. Once you get them to campus, you know, we got the Murphy Center. You know, we got so much the campus. You know, the Hunt Library. We got so much to sell them on. But sometimes it's just getting them to campus. You know, you have to catch their eye to make them interested to even come on campus, so you can show them what a great campus we have, the brickyard, all that stuff, right? So
Yeah.
it's a, you know, and then like I said, the current players, man, when they see black and we're wearing black, they just get jacked up even more. You know what I mean? Like, so it's a fine, you know, for one game a year.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it ought to be about our current players. You know, get, you know, what they want to wear. I believe. I mean, I may be overstepping my bounds, and you may get some feedback, and I apologize, but you know, they work hard. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what gets them excited.
Right. And I mean, I was thinking that too, because you got the whole recruiting side. I mean, it's almost like it has become like an arms race in football, some regard, to get how much more new stuff can you get and improve the locker rooms and the uniforms. But I mean, like, I know you mentioned the black. Now you even got a gray uniform. I mean, you've had the military uniforms. Those are things that I just think that. So I'm, just for context, Terry, I'm a big guy who's in the recruiting side of things for state. I love following that kind of stuff, and you can really tell it makes a difference. I mean, I love the red and white stuff too. I mean, the Diamond S logo that we had against Notre Dame is like one of my all-time favorites, and if I had to throw a little token in there, I would say y'all should do it more often. But it's the black uniforms. Whenever we've interviewed some players so far, for those who are watching this episode, you can certainly go back and check out. We've had Garrett on here, Garrett Bradbury. We've had Tony Adams. We've had a bunch of guys on here, but all of them, Nate Irving, we had on here. They'll all say, man, those black uniforms are really awesome. And so you can tell. I mean, like,
recruits that came in, like this summer in the month of June when it was open, we give them a choice of what they want to wear when they have their photo shoots, right? And 99% of them picked last year's Blood Moon. Black helmet, red jersey, black pants. The good problem for us is how awesome is it to have those three colors, and you can mix them up however and they look great, right? I mean,
yeah, somebody had a chart at one point that had like, 10 or 12 of the different combinations you could do of what the work y'all put in. Like, you provided like the 3 or 4 uniforms, but like the variations you can make, it's all different.
One thing that I did want to ask, though, from looking back, and definitely if state fans haven't seen it, make sure to go back, and because in 2014 they had a series called "You Don't Know Jack" that Jack Tocha, former cornerback, was a host for, and Country actually made an appearance on there, which was awesome. And so one of the things that you made perfectly clear on it was that if you have any questions on what uniforms we're wearing, to head right down the hall, and there's a man named Coach Dave Dorn, and he's the one that makes a decision. So is that still pretty much the policy these days? Is he still pretty much the guy that makes decisions and tells you what we're going to wear each week?
The leadership council and the seniors, we try to let the seniors get together, which can be challenging sometimes. We like to try to let the seniors pick what they wear on their final game. But there again, you get 10 people in a room, you're going to get 10 different opinions, you know what I mean? So we can usually narrow it down to one or two and say, okay, you guys got to check one of these two, you know what I mean? So I think last year, the senior, they wanted to wear, I think we wore the white helmet, white pants, and a black jersey, I believe. That's what the seniors wanted to wear last year which was a really good look.
Yes.
Yeah, it looked sharp. Just FYI, it looked real sharp.
Yes. No, it definitely would love to see that again for sure. But one thing though too, which I've definitely learned from working with you and by also too working with Coach Dorn as well, is that there's no doubt that I would say maybe Coach Dorn, but by the means you, is definitely a superstitious kind of people. And so you look back and you think back in 2014-15 where we wore all red multiple times, but most of those games didn't work out. Like the main highlighted one was in 2014 where we played Florida State and lost, but it was a great game. And then also, you look back at 2013 Florida State where we got crushed, but we wore the all white. And so now, obviously, we have worn an all white uniform since, which is good to see, but we haven't worn all red since. So, I mean, wanted to kind of ask, like, how much for you, but also even for Coach Dorn as well, how much superstition plays into stuff like that, because again, we haven't seen all red yet, and I know a lot of state fans that would love to see
Well,
all red
we
eventually.
haven't had a good track record.
Yeah, he knows. He knows. He's like, well, I ain't talking
We haven't had a good
much.
record in the all red.
That's hilarious.
But if you remember though, the Florida State, not only did we go all white, remember we did the white face mask on the white helmet, and we had a clear decal, so everything was white.
Mm-hmm.
And we ran into a buzzsaw. That team ended up winning the national championship. And they so we haven't worn that combo anymore. But when we're winning, like when we went on the road, I just go to coach and I'm like, I know what we're wearing. I'm not even asking you, because I know we're going to wear it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if we start winning in red helmets, we're going to roll with the red helmets. You know what I mean? Like that's not even a question. I know. Obviously. Right. And I'm bad too, there's superstition in all sports, right? I mean, so I'll if we're winning, my year at NIU, the first game of the year, it was a little cool, believe it or not, even though it was a September game. So I wore a hooded sweatshirt and we won. And the next week we went to Army and it was on the turf, and it was
you're staying with that sweatshirt
up there, and I was wearing my hooded sweatshirt. You know what I mean? Like I'm superstitious, just probably worse than most people.
Yeah,
honestly, like I'll mark my socks. Like if we win a game, I'm wearing that same pair of socks, and next week I won't go no further what I wear besides the socks. But there's other things too,
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need. Offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time wearing and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
So I got a question, kind of off the cuff question. You got any like crazy superstition stories, uniform wise, or like stuff like that you've heard on the team so far, like in the last few years, that'd be fun to share? Because I mean, like it sounds like superstition is a big thing when it comes to uniforms.
Is the t-shirts? Like a lot of our guys, they'll wear their high school T-shirt like underneath their pads on game day, and if for some reason they don't have it, sometimes they'll freak out a little bit.
It'll get in their head,
accommodate that. And if I know a kid does that, before we load the truck for a away game, I'm like, okay, go check and make sure, because we have a game loop. It's just for games that we give the guys, right? We put new socks and all that stuff on there. And I'm like, okay. Let's make sure that T-shirt's on there before, we pack that thing up. Because, if we leave it behind, I ain't driving from Tallahassee up to Raleigh to get that T-shirt and make it back before the game. We ain't going to be able to do it. You know what I mean? So, but that's the biggie, I would say. Nothing really funny. Just, guys that just have, especially underneath T-shirts, under the shoulder pads.
Now, one superstition, if I remember correctly, that I remember you telling me when I used to work with you, so there was one point when you were assistant at Wisconsin where you would actually not go. You would stay in the equipment room for the game during the games. Am I correct on that?
My first game there, the head guy was named Mark Peeler, and he was the assistant, and he got promoted to head guy. So we go and play. It used to be the Kickoff Classic, where we go to Meadowlands up in New York to play, and he's like, I'm going to set up the locker room. That's what I've always done, so you can go out for pregame. So I go out for pregame, I'm helping out pregame, whatever needs to be done. Come back in. He goes, I'm going to clean up, get things set for halftime. You go on out with the team. So I run out there with the team. Yeah, Syracuse. We kick off to Syracuse. They run it back for a touchdown. Then, so my boss, Mark, comes out and goes, what happened? I was like, they ran the opening kickoff for a touchdown. He goes, well, you're done going out early. I'm like, okay. So a few games later, we're playing it at Indiana. I stay in like I'm supposed to do, setting up. We kick off to Indiana. They run the opening kickoff back for a touchdown. I walk out and say, "What happened?" Well, they ran the kickoff back for a touchdown. All right, so now you're going to stay in. Who's going to come out with the team? About 14 years up there, besides that first game in the Meadowlands, I never got to see a pregame warm-up or I never got to see an open kickoff after that first game.
That's right. You do it. You got to do what it takes, man.
Do what it takes. So, want to kind of talk a little bit because I know there's a lot of buzz, especially because it's unusual that we're wearing for the first game an alternate uniform. Because typically, I feel like most years, even as many years I can remember, we've typically always for the first game wore our classic white, red, white always. And so, to wear an alternate on the first game is definitely interesting. So, wanted to kind of ask, because with the black helmet in 2014, you kind of talked a little bit in terms of kind of what the process was in terms of coming up with the design. So in terms of actually using the slobbering wolf logo and then basically having like the brick layout of the actual helmet itself, what was the kind of idea? Like where did that idea originally come from? Kind of what's the story behind that helmet?
Wow, that's a tough one to answer and not give away what the uniform is going to be.
Sure.
Yeah,
okay. Then keep it on. Keep it under wraps.
Let's just say we were trying to do it embody. When I say they, it's Adidas and administration. Let's try to embody something within the campus. When you see the uniform, you're going to understand more. It's something very significant of the campus that we're trying to embrace the campus, not just the athletics, but the whole student body. Some of the student body sees every day.
I love it.
That's
a good teaser. That's a good teaser.
I know. I'm excited.
Yeah, you're really going to be excited.
I'm excited. I'm ready for it. So I don't know, country.
That's cool.
I don't know if I could get more excited than I was when I first saw the diamond that we were wearing the diamond uniform.
Well, that was
big.
That was the 50th anniversary of the Carter Finley, and as soon as I got here, I had people reaching out to me, diamond logo, diamond logo, diamond logo, and then when we were doing the throwback,
I'm telling you, man, it looks good.
They were like, "Okay, what are we going to wear?" And I said, "Well, I hear a lot about the diamond logo, and they wanted to do 60s, this and that, and I kept going with the diamond logo, and they were like, "Okay, well, you got to do some research, and you got to find out, why should we pick that one?" I went back and looked, and Coach Sheridan was like, if you look at the percentages, he's like one of the all-time winningest coaches at NC State, like winning percentage wise, and I say it was the prior administration, and they were like, "Okay, that sounds good to me," and that's kind of what we went with. So, and it was awesome, and it was good, and
beautiful.
Everybody liked it, and it was a hurricane.
Yeah,
and,
it was a hit.
Crazy game, but we won, so that was the main thing. So.
Yeah,
and that kind of sets up nicely into one of my last questions, which is, obviously for me, in our first ever episode, we did what was our favorite NC State game that we've been to. And that was mine, heads and tails, just because, at the time during the game, it was absolutely miserable because, coaches were yelling at us to do impossible things like keep that ball dry. Like, come on, what are you doing? Keep that ball dry. It's like, seriously? Like,
have you seen the weather?
Have you seen it? Like, it's not going to stay dry. So, so for me, it was miserable during it, but it's amazing thing afterwards. It's so unique. Like when will we probably ever be a part of a game like that ever again?
And I remember with Gary Hahn, I was listening to the post game radio show, and they were talking about recapping the game, and usually they started on the weather. On like the official box score, whatever, they'll put like a weather information. It'll be like cloudy or rainy or something. They said they wrote Hurricane Matthew. So it was you don't need to say anything else.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to kind of ask.
One of the things, that's overlooked by student managers, Leighton, you understand this, is I had 2 kids for that game, the Hurricane game, that were sitting in a tent on the sidelines doing nothing but drawing footballs, and they didn't see a single play of the game. That's the unsung heroes right there. They didn't see a single play of the game. But they did their job, and didn't really think about it at all. It's just the mentality. We got to do what we got to do. So I commend those two guys because, like I said, they were sitting in the tent the entire game.
Again, they always say with equipment staff, and it's 100% true, that you're having a great day when you are not getting talked about. But the minute your name comes up, that's when that's not a good thing to hear your name. So and that could not be more true. So kind of now heading to rapid fire time, wanted to kind of ask. So I mean, obviously this past year we saw a lot of different uniform combinations, and I know back in again 2014, the know Jack, they had Jack Toucher asked you, what's your favorite uniform combination? And of course, you said the all black, but you were a little biased because you had a lot to do with that uniform combo. So now with seeing all these different uniform combinations, I mean, do you still have a favorite uniform combination?
I'll take a Tom Brady.
Hey, great answer.
That's the politically correct answer. Yeah, that's a politically correct answer. Yeah.
Great answer. I love that. Great answer.
The next one. Yeah.
And then, what would you say is, in during your time here at NC State, what would you say is your favorite ACC stadium to travel to? I mean, in terms of dealing with, I mean, just like, do you have a favorite that you like? Do you like traveling to?
Travel to. I haven't been to all of them yet. I haven't been down to Miami yet.
Or at least, what's the first one that comes to your mind? If instead of having to narrow it down to like the one, but like, do you have one that like first comes to mind? Man, this one's
like
really
Boston
nice.
College, honestly. Like, I just kind of that stadium there, and it's kind of neat because on the backside, it looks out the press box looks out into the hockey rink and all that stuff. It's just pretty cool, and you got fans in the end zones, and it's not a huge stadium, but
different answer. I like that.
It's big enough, and you got passionate fans there, and it's pretty. I kind of enjoy going there, and it's got a cool area. It's a lot of older historical, buildings when you're driving in and stuff, and all that stuff, and houses. It's just kind of cool.
Well, yeah, fair enough answer for sure. I definitely agree with that. It's definitely a unique stadium to say the least. So thank you all so much again for tuning in, and definitely make sure again, if you haven't already, please make sure to check us out, and also to make sure to check Country out. You're going to see him walking up and down the sidelines, keeping guys on the field, working right. And so definitely make sure to give him a shout out, give him a yell out, something like that, and I'm sure he'll give you a wave as well. And, who knows? So Country, thank you so much for joining us today, my friend.